Okay, today we will learn how to enter data in Excel. This is a very simple lesson, but I'd like to emphasize some points, okay? Because later on, you might be experiencing some data entry concerns and you'd like to know why. Um, if there are some errors, what are the things that you should do or how to avoid these errors, okay? So let me just increase the view here so it becomes bigger. All right. So entering data can be done in 5 ways. Okay. The first one is a direct data entry. It's just simply typing what you want to enter in your spreadsheet. So for example, we'd like to come up with a list of items in an inventory. So I have here a title, inventory of equipment. Okay. And of course, in an inventory, we need an item code. There should be a description. Okay. So these are direct data entries. Okay. You're just putting, we are just putting the labels or the headers for each column. We'd like this to be a matrix. So you have cost, you have the quantity of the items, and then of course you'd like to know how much is left in the inventory. What's the total cost considering the quantity for each item? And let me just adjust the row size, the column size here. I'll just have to drag this to the left, okay, to double click and drag to the left. So I have the first item code. Let's have a computer um, related device, and that's a desktop, for example. And it costs around 35,000. Quantity left in this particular location. Let's say this is Laguna. We have 10, and the total cost will go to that later. Okay, so we'll have another item. So that's let's say it's a printer and it costs around 7,000. What we're doing here is directly entering data. And that's what you will be doing, especially if you are just starting with setting up your spreadsheet. So you cannot avoid entering data. This is very important. But later on, you will be able to manipulate this data because you can already refer to the cell addresses for specific formulas. So that's we have a table for this location. We have 8. Cost is 4,000. We have 8 units, and there's another office equipment. So of course we have a chair or chairs. Costs maybe around 3,000, and we have 12 for this particular location. And you have a conference table. Sorry. So we have let's say let's have another code. It's Office 003. We have a conference table, and it costs around 12,000 or 10,000. We have one. Let me just adjust this to make this bigger so we'll see the table part. And then let's say we have an appliance. So we have a TV set, okay, one TV set or probably two. It costs around 12,000, a small one, not too fancy. And we have what do we need in an office? We have a sofa. So we have a sofa. It's office 4. Okay, have to change this. Double click and just backspace and enter 2. That's as easy as that. And you have a sofa, costs around 15,000, and you have one unit. Okay, another one is maybe we have 4, you have 5. So we have a side table. Okay, we have a side table that costs just 2,000, and you have 2 in this office. And finally, we'll have take note that in an inventory, the item code should be unique. Okay, it should not um, be a duplicate with a different description. So I have a filing cabinet. Let's say the filing cabinet costs 3,000, and you have 4 items in this particular location. So you saw that we entered this data directly. So that's the first way, okay, to fill the cells in your spreadsheet. The second way is to use a formula, okay, so that you don't need to compute things manually and then you just enter the data. Let's make use of the power of the spreadsheet to compute for us. And all formulas would start with an equal sign. So I will be using I will be computing the total cost based on the cost and the quantity. Okay, so I have here, I'll enter the equal sign, right? And then instead of writing 35,000 times 10, we will just have to refer to the cell address. And to refer to the cell address, you'll have to point your cursor to the particular cell, just click on it, and you see that automatically D5 is already reflected in that particular cell area where you want to enter the formula. And then since this is a formula that multiplies the cost and the quantity, so I will use the multiplication operator, which is a parenthesis, an asterisk, sorry. It's not a small x, it's not a big X. You probably already know that it's an asterisk. I just have to emphasize that. And D5, which is this, multiplied by the quantity, which is E5, I'll just have to click here. All right. And then automatically the cell address is shown. And all we have to do is to click enter. And there you go. You have the formula. So if you have to change this quantity, it automatically updates the total cost. So let me just go back to 10. All right. So 35,000. That's a formula. Now, do we have to enter the formula for each one? Well, if you have the patience, you can probably do that, but that's not being efficient. What you can do is to click on this cell and it will show the formula and you will see an autofill. You have a fill handle here. The fill handle can be pulled down and the formula will be adjusted or reflected for each of the rows. Okay, you will see that the cell addresses will adapt to that particular row that you are or that cell is in. So if I will pull this, double click on your mouse, pull it. So in my case, I'll just pull it here. Pull or drag. There you go. You now have the formula or the total cost for each of the items. So here you have D5 times E5. Here you have D6 times E6. So it's just adjusting based on the row location. Okay, that's cool, right? And we can also do the same thing, entering data using a formula by going to the item number. So you can, patiently just enter 2, 3, 4, 5. That's patient. But what if you have 1,000 or 3,000 entries? You don't want to do that. That will be too time consuming. So let me just delete that. So what I will do is to use the formula to increment the item number. So that's equal sign, sorry. So you have an equal sign and then click on the cell reference, which is A5. Okay, I'll click on that, A5, it shows that. And for the number to be incremented, the formula is to add it by 1. So I'll put the formula plus and 1. So my 1 now becomes 2. And enter, it becomes 2. And all I have to do, instead of doing the same thing for all the rows, I'll again have to drag or pull the handle going down and it automatically adjusts. See, that's so easy. So if you have 5,000, all you have to do is to drag everything and automatically you have the item numbers for your 5,000 inventory items. Okay, so now you have your, we now have the inventory. Let's put a location here. Maybe this is in Laguna. Right, so if it's in Laguna, okay, your Laguna would cover quantity and total cost. So just a little formatting here. I'll go to home. I just want this to be centered, covering the 2 columns. So I'll just highlight the 2 areas, okay, where I want it centered, and I'll click on the merge and center option here. Click on that. There you go. It already covers these 2 columns. Let me just adjust this. Okay, so we have that. Now, so we enter data by directly entering, okay, the numbers and the text here. That's the first way. The second way is we enter data by using a formula. Okay, we enter the formula and we did the automatic entry of data by dragging the fill handle going down. So that's a third way. The next way is to copy and paste. Okay, let's say we have another location. Let's say the location is in Batangas, okay? I'd like to just copy this part, okay? because this one will be common for all the different locations. So I will just leave it as that. And then I'll copy this part, Laguna, quantity, total cost, and I'll just change Laguna to Batangas later. So I'll do a copy and paste. So that's copy. We'll use the shortcut, which is Control C or Command C in Mac. And then the dashed border there means that this is already processed for your copying uh, step, okay? And you can already paste it in an area where you want it shown. So let me just make this smaller. Okay, and then I'll paste it. So the paste shortcut is Control V. All right, so that's easy. And then I'll change Laguna to Batangas. There you go. And then we'll have to do a direct data entry on the quantity because, we cannot get that from anywhere. We just have to enter this data. So let's say Batangas has 3 desktops, 1 printer. So I'm just entering this data here. 3 HDDs, 2 tables, and I have 4 chairs. This is a smaller office. So you have 1 conference table, you have 1 TV. Let's say you don't have a sofa, don't have a space for that. You have a side table, yes, and you also have 1 filing cabinet. There you go. Now, we know that the formula of total cost is cost times the quantity. In the earlier part, we computed the total cost for Laguna, but this time the quantity will be for Batangas. So we just have to enter the same formula. But this time the quantity will be from the column of Batangas, which is H5. So all we have to do is like what I did, enter equal sign, and then click on the address for quantity for Batangas and then multiply it. So enter asterisk, multiply it with the cost. Yan. So you have D5. I just click on D5 here and then press enter. So we have 105,000 for the desktop in Batangas. And similarly, we'll just drag everything down here and the formulas will be updated based on the row number. Okay, that's very, very useful later on. Okay, now, so we would like to get the total of all these costs, no? Or the total of all the inventories. Okay, how much do we have right now for all of the items? So let me just put a total here. So direct data entry, and then instead of using a formula similar to this, so you have D5 times E5, just use a cell reference address. Instead of doing that, I will use a built-in function of Excel. Okay, but I have to use, when I use that, I will have to start with an equal sign again. Okay, to indicate or to show Excel or to give the message to Excel that this is something that you should compute. This is a number. This is not a text. So you should start with an equal sign. So I'll get the sum. We'll use the built-in function sum. Okay, and you will see that there are choices here. So right now it's just a sum that I want to do. No conditions. Just click on sum. And you will see that it shows the syntax for that particular function. In this case, there's number 1, number 2, but actually you can also just select a specific range, okay, highlight this, and it will automatically reflect the particular range in the sum, okay? And then all we have to do is to enter the close parenthesis and press enter. So you have that. And we'll do the same here, or we can just copy the formula. Anyway, it will adjust with regard to the cell references. So I'll just copy this, copy. The formula will be copied here. And instead of the column F, okay, being computed, it will compute the ones in column I. So let me see. All right, so you will see here that here, it's the sum from F5 to F14, but in here, it's the sum from I5 to I14. That's how it automatically adjusts. Okay, it's so simple, but we have to be very careful with this next when your spreadsheet becomes complicated. But for a simple spreadsheet like this is okay. This is really cool. Now we go to a part when we want to consolidate the inventory. Okay, so maybe we have a consolidated inventory here, down here. All right, consolidated inventory. That's then data entry. And then I'd like to just copy this. Okay. Control C, Control V. And I'd like to just copy. Okay, let's go to the next way of entering data. What we want to do is to just copy whatever is written in a particular cell. Okay, so what I want to do is to copy the item number. Okay, so how do I do that? It's a formula, equal sign, but I'll just show the cell address. So I'll click on the cell address and just copy. It's different from the copy and paste. The copy and paste, okay, you will see that with the copying of the cell reference, if I change this, the other one follows, okay? But you don't want that to be changed to 0. So if you change it to 1, the other one also changes, okay? But if you just copy this, copy, and then you have copy Control C, and then you Control V here, so that's the same 1. But if you change this to 0, you will see that the one copied is not changed. All right, so what we want to do, copy this, is when this part changes, this part also changes. So I'll just put an equal sign, enter the equal sign, and then just click on the address, okay, and then enter, okay. And then, okay, I just moved that, made it bigger. All right, and then I would like the other rows to be also copied. So we'll just also drag this fill handle. There you go. So we have 10. And you will see that the one that this one also changed, no? So it will copy A7, which is here, A7. Okay, so if one of these things change, the others will change too. This part also changes. Now, if you want to copy the item, description, and the cost, because these are all given, okay, considering that we have that as reference for all the branches, we can just highlight this and we will say, we'll inform Excel that you just copy the next columns. So we'll again copy this, drag this to the right, and you will see that it just copied everything that's on the upper part, okay, here. So it's as easy as that. So if you are going to be using this, okay, always, and maybe later on, you'll be considered a Power Excel user, okay? Because it's easy for you to manipulate the cells and the data in your spreadsheet, okay? The quantity, let's go to the quantity. The quantity, of course, you cannot copy because it's a formula that adds whatever is in Laguna and whatever is in Batangas. So it's a formula, so it has to start with an equal sign. So you have a cell reference here, that's E5, and then we'll just have to add it with the ones left in Batangas. So plus 3, okay? Of course, the address will be shown instead of the number 3. And press enter, that's it. So 10 plus 3 is 13. And do we have to do that for all of the other rows? No, all you have to do is to pull this and you have the totals automatically computed, right? And same is true with what we did in total cost in Batangas and Laguna. We just have to get the formula or put the formula. It's an equal sign, quantity or cost. Okay, click on the cost cell, okay, for the desktop, multiplied by the quantity. You click on this part and then it will show the address, and then you click on enter or press enter. There you go. That is the remaining, or that is the cost of all computers in Batangas and Laguna. Okay. And then we pull this again, drag it down, and everything will be automatically adjusted. And let's also have a total here, okay, entering data there. And then same as what we did here, we can use the sum function. So instead of clicking on sum, we can just put the open parenthesis because we already know the syntax, okay? And then there's an open parenthesis, and then you can just highlight that and then close parenthesis, that's it. 703,000 is the cost of all the equipment and the furniture in Batangas and in Laguna. That is the consolidated inventory. Okay, so doesn't look neat, no? It's not that neat. Maybe we can just transfer consolidated inventory here on the right side. Okay, let me just copy everything here. So highlight that. Okay, Control C, no, Control X. We'd like to cut that, put it here. So let me just put a small column there and put it here. Okay, it's not aligned, so I'll just undo that and put it up here. Control V. There you go. It's aligned now. Let me just make the column smaller. Now, the concern here is that there is repetition, okay, of information, right? So we already have item code, description, and cost in this part, and we are just referring to the same rows. So maybe we should just remove this, okay? We don't need this for the consolidated inventory. So we need to delete this. How do we delete this part? We just want to delete a certain portion of the table. So we can highlight the area that we want deleted. You can right click, okay, and you will see a delete option there. Okay, click on delete and you'll see shift cells left. So we just want quantity to go to the left, fill the place here that we will be deleting, and just click on OK. There you go. But, oh, there's an error here. When you see this, that means there's a problem, there's an error, but don't panic. It's something that we can handle. It just means that the reference address that we used earlier is no longer existing. So we just have to replace that because we're talking about the cost, no? The cost. Okay. The formula here was referring to the cost here, and we will be deleting this. So that means this is already removed. Excel doesn't know which one will be used. So it shows an error message. So let me just do that. Okay. So what we will do is just write the correct formula, get the correct formula. This is quantity times or asterisk the cost, which is common for all. And that's it. You have the same value, 455,000. And you just drag the handle going down. That's it. And it will be automatically updated. Oh, what happens to the total? Let's just cut that, Control X, and put it here. Or since we already have a total here, we'll remove the total. Okay, and I'll cut that, Control X, Control V, you have the total. Let's make this bold. I'm highlighting row 15 here. So just click on here. I'd like this to be bold. There, and we have a consolidated inventory, but you will see that consolidated inventory is located in the total cost column. So let's just move that here. So Control X, I'll put it here. Okay. And you now have, okay, let's just make sure that the space will be enough. All right, and then let's merge this. Okay, let's merge this to cover the two columns. So I'm highlighting it. I highlighted that merchant center. So there we go. That's the consolidated inventory. Maybe I can transfer it down here so that it is aligned in the rows where Laguna and Batangas are shown. So I'll cut, Control X, and then I'll put it here, Control V. There you go. So we have that. And then let's make it a bit neater. I'll cut this, Control X, I'll put it here, Control V. And I'd like the inventory of equipment formatted with a bigger text font, text size. So I have, let's say, maybe 16. All right, and I'd like it bold. So I'll click on bold. And then I'd like it to cover all the areas. So I'll have to click on Merchant Center so that it will look neater. Okay, but we can still do something about it. You see that the cost here is should be a currency. Okay, these are values, right? And this is quantity, so this is just an integer. Okay, refers to the number of items left. So we'd like this to be to show peso sign. Okay, so how do we do that? You just highlight. We'll highlight this, and right click. You will see format cells here. I click on that, and then there's a currency here. Okay, there's an option, a symbol for the peso currency, and or if you want a dollar currency. So in our case, let's just use peso, and I don't like a decimal place, so it's 0. And then I'll click on OK. So there you go. We have the peso sign for each of the values. And I also would like to do the same for this, for this, for this, and even this, and this, and this. So instead of doing this how many times? 1, 2, 3 times, maybe I can just highlight everything. So I'll highlight this one first, and then control, highlight again this part, control, click on control, and highlight this again, so that all of them will already be formatted at the same time. So I have currency, I don't want decimal places, okay, and it will be adjusted like that. So it's simple. I'd like the quantity values here to be centered. So I'll again highlight, okay, control, highlight, control, highlight, and I'd like this centered. So I click on the center alignment here, center text. Okay, that's it. That looks neater. But let's put the borders, no? Since these are tables, let's put this within uh, borders. Okay, and same is true here. I can put it. Okay, this is the border drop down. If you click on that, you'll have different options. I'd like the one that covers everything, and there's that one. Okay, I'll click on this, so you have that. And I'd like the location and the headers, or the headers, to be centered. Okay, so that's centered, and they are bold. All right, so we now have our inventory list. For those of you who will be assigned in asset management, you will have to be working on something similar to this, and you will be using a lot of formulas for especially averaging and getting the sum. But the basic things that are shown here are as follows. We entered data in different ways. The first one is direct data entry. The second one is we used a formula. The third one, we used copying and pasting, and cutting and paste, and we also used a function, okay? And the fourth one, okay, is by self-referencing, okay? The one that we did when we copied the numbers, okay, earlier. So this is a very simple lesson in entering data in your spreadsheet. Make sure that you know this. Make sure that you will not be confused with the use of a formula and with the entering of data directly to your spreadsheet. Okay, don't forget everything that's discussed here, because later on you will be using this for your other lessons and other activities. Okay, see you in the next video. Thank you.